Welcome to Jets Friday Frenzy with your host, Krista from Jets Guru, the star of Jets Guru, actually. And we got Charmin from PlayLikeAJet.com. And also, he's a co host of a great podcast called Lift Off, a Jets football podcast, if you want to check it out. And we also got a special guest today from north of the border, actually, our friend Phil, who's going to talk a little about gambling with us and some techniques maybe and try to help us out. Maybe he could help us win a few bucks this year, which would be cool.
Absolutely.
So anyway, how's everybody doing? It's Friday night.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
it's Friday night. It's time to relax. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's been a hell of a week for me. So I'm taking it.
Hey, especially the last 24 hours with all the rain, I think we need a break, right? Up here.
Oh
Phil,
yeah.
you that?
I thought I was gonna drown on my way home yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous especially on the FDR. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
Phil, did you get any of this rain or no?
Yeah, the last 2 days actually have been like 15, 16, where you had to wear a sweater, almost a toque.
Wow.
Today was the first day we got back into the 20s. Thank the Lord.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's crazy. Well,
Yeah, it did rain quite a bit 2 days ago. I think we got about 20 millimeters. So yeah, we almost need to build Noah's Ark up here in the north.
that's
So,
cool.
listen, it's been a quiet couple of weeks, for the Jets and for the NFL in general. So we don't have that much, but this week, PFF came out, I believe, with some pretty bad article. They were ranking each team's worst draft pick of the last 15 years, and they said the Jets' worst draft pick of the last 15 years was Mark Sanchez. I'm sorry, but as the old expression goes, the Jets said, "Hold my beer." I got more than Mark Sanchez and much worse. So, what do you guys think of that?
Hey man, listen, before you guys even continue, the justification behind choosing Mark Sanchez was the funniest thing to me. It was like, well, they paid him $50 million and he did nothing. Huh?
Nothing?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever. I mean,
I don't know about nothing.
I mean, without the guy, I don't care if you want to say the defense was the one or whatever, but without him on the team, we wouldn't have back-to-back appearances in the playoffs. In the last, what was that? In the last 15, 20 years?
Yep.
Oh,
Back-to-back-
really?
Back-to-back championship games.
Yep.
Right. Right, Chris. Great point. I kind of just left that out just to sound like I'm dumb because that's what these people think we are as Jets fans.
And you know what?
You gotta be stupid.
He played in 6 playoff games and he was 4-2. How many other quarterbacks could say they have a winning record in the playoffs, let alone, make it to 2 AFC championship games?
And those
Especially
wins on the
doing-
road too, right? Like he didn't do that at home. He had to do that on the road. And he did it up in Foxborough. Like that's
Right.
I was impressed. Like when I saw that in Foxborough, the point, he did the old point there to the wide receiver to the corner and he hit him. I just shook my head.
Yeah,
I'm
what's
like,
that kid? Yeah, what's that kid's name? The wide receiver used to play for the Browns. Big kid. Oh man,
it was,
Krista, help me out here.
Braylon Edwards.
Braylon.
Braylon,
Edwards.
there you go. That's what it was. Yep. Yeah,
I got
I
it.
mean,
They were on the verge, fellas, ladies. They were. I'm watching it and I'm like, this is it. Like there was a point, against Tom Brady in Foxborough. I was like, who does that? He hits it and didn't, because I figured if he throws that ball, 10 yards over his head, it's going to be embarrassing. But those whole 2 years were fun to watch because I'm big on defense and to watch that
Definitely.
performance and
So good.
it was impressive.
It's pretty sad though. We've had really bad, really
Oh
bad
my gosh.
first round draft. I mean, bad like they did nothing for us. This guy, only 2 good years. We get that, but they were 2 really good years. After that, the rest garbage, right? The butt fumble, obviously, everybody's gonna remember that. They don't remember the 2 good years.
That's
But
probably why Pro Football Focus honestly ranked Mark Sanchez. They probably saw one play, they saw the butt fumble. Whoever decided to write this article, like, yeah, that's the worst Jet, the butt fumble, because that's the worst play I've seen. It was embarrassing. But you know what? Let's pretend Quentin Copples didn't exist. Let's pretend Calvin Pryor didn't exist. Let's pretend Dean Miller didn't exist. And let's pretend Mike McCaggan did not draft Christian Hackenberg in the second round, where we all almost wanted to throw our TVs out the window when they were all better players that could have been picked in the second round. I don't know what Pro Football Focus thinks half the time. I have a whole rant on that, and I'm not going to spoil it on this series because I really feel like bashing them. But all I have to say with Pro Football Focus is their acronym they should probably instead of Pro Football Focus, they should probably change their title to Probably Fucking Fried, because that's how I feel reading after their article.
I like that. That's well said. That's well said. I like that.
Oh, that's a good preview for Krista's 2-minute warning, boy.
Yeah.
Get a little,
like all of us could sit here, and look at it and say, well, what about Quentin? There was Quentin Copples, there was Vernon Golston. Like the only thing that guy did that was impressive was his last video when he was getting in a fight. It's the most impressive thing I've seen from that man. Like, give me a break.
Right.
That was the most fight I've seen him do. He did more of the fight in that video than I've seen in the football field. I said, where was he?
That was the most heart you'll ever see from that guy.
It was bad. So, all right. So
it's just funny. It's just funny that you see how Krista, just off the top of her head, as a Jets fan, reeling out these names over and over and over and over again. That guy or whoever wrote that article, you have no Jets fan friends, nobody, not even an acquaintance, nobody to help you out at all. Really?
They just wrote it.
I mean, from
what they like to see. They like to see us just ranting on them, and just
that's probably what it is. You're right. They what's the term that the youngins use nowadays? Them gaslighting us, something like that.
Yeah, I'm so out of touch with Generation Z's and millennials.
And me too. But that's what I think it is. It means anyway. But there we go.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna leave the rest for Krista to hit on the warning for that. And it was announced this week, not that it was anything Jet related, but it was a little NFL related, that the Cowboys are gonna be picked to be on Hard Knocks on HBO. And I believe it's for the third time for them, which kind of sucks. I mean, I love the show. I'm going to watch it anyway. I just wish it was a different team other than the Cowboys because, just like everybody else, the Cowboys make me sick anyway. But what are you guys' thoughts on it? It should be interesting, but what do you guys think about that? Do you watch it? Are you going to watch it?
For me, full disclosure, I watched when the Jets were on there, and then I really didn't tune in much. But it was interesting to see behind the scenes stuff that went on there. It's all obviously propped up a little bit, but overall, it was okay.
Yeah, I mean, because I love football and I love the behind the scenes stuff, and I love just the interaction between coaches and players and all that stuff. I'm really in love with the whole thing. So anything football, I will watch. That does not mean I won't have moments that I'll be gagging because it's the damn Cowboys. I will gag a few times. I'm just telling you right now, and maybe throw up a little in my mouth. But I'm just saying,
Well, it could be worse. You could be watching the Patriots on Hard Knocks and watching Belichick.
You know what?
Monotone.
That's true. I don't want to watch that.
Personality.
I mean, the thing we're probably going to watch a lot of, it'll probably, they're probably going to focus on Prescott, his recovery from the ankle injury. So not so bad. Prescott's not a bad dude. I don't mind it. But there is a lot of question marks on that team. They were so bad on defense last year. And without Prescott, the offense was going nowhere. So this year if he comes back, the offense should be better. A lot of people are picking, what's his name? CeeDee Lamb to break out, to be like the big breakout player this year, which makes sense, but we will see.
Hey, you see, this is the thing, right? You have an ultra talented team on offense, on paper, that I think there's a conversation to be had about how really good that offensive line is. I don't know why everybody's just acting like it's something that, hey man, it's all good, when probably the two of their best players are probably not in their prime anymore. Correct me if I'm wrong on that offensive line.
Right.
And like you said, that defense, uh, can I entertain you guys in a non-existent? Uh, I mean, you
Yeah, it was bad.
literally imagine averaging. What were they averaging at some point? 30-something points a game or whatever,
Yeah.
and they were losing games. I mean,
Right.
it makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
And full
So-
disclosure, from a betting perspective, and talking about the NFC East, I've already dabbled in the Redskins, or the Washington football team. I've already dabbled
Yeah.
on them to win the division. That defense and the way they're shaping up and the offseason they had, there's not very many people talking about it, but they quietly had a great offseason. And I think
Yes,
they
sir.
can win the division. If you look at their schedule, all 4 teams, like it, you're telling, I got it back in April when the odds came out, like around the draft time, and it was like plus 310. You put $100 down, you're going to win $300 plus your wager back. I had to take it down.
Yeah,
on
that's
that.
not bad. I don't think, for me, I don't think the Cowboys are going to win it. Washington or I think the Giants are going to be a better team too.
Yeah.
What's his name?
The Eagles,
Has to
will
step up.
be the worst for sure.
Yeah. I think
most
Daniel
most
Jones,
likely that's what it is.
he's the one that has to step up for the Giants. If he steps up, then they're going to be right with Washington and Dallas. Like we were saying, I can't see the defense going from what they were last year to anything decent. They did get Quinn for defensive coordinator, so that should help, but I can't see them improving that much.
You're alleviating the head coaching duties from Quinn. He might be a little better this time around. The defense should get better, but they didn't do enough to really shore that up. And I think it's going to be exposed this year. Like Dallas is going to have to score 40 points a game to outscore people, and that's a lot of pressure to put on a quarterback that came off a major injury. So
I agree.
Yeah, that's why I think all we're saying, I think we're kind of sounding the alarms here. Of all the teams you could choose in the NFL right now that have so many great things going for them, that's probably one of the worst teams to choose to have that show. I'm sorry, that's just an opinion, my opinion.
It's true. I think it's just because it's the Cowboys. They're still considered America's team. Blah blah blah, all that crap. But I would have loved to have seen a different team. I would have loved to see the Browns again. The Browns were a couple of years ago. I would love to see them this year because I think the Browns are that team that's right there.
Yeah.
Maybe even Buffalo.
I'm confused with this, guys. Being north of the border, this America's team thing, they haven't been relevant since the 90s.
I agree.
We all feel the same way. We all feel the same way.
I totally agree.
Yeah,
but,
we all. Yeah.
Just because you won some Super Bowls in the 90s and you've been non-existent for a couple of decades doesn't mean you're still America's team. I find it.
Yep.
You know what it is? They're still on. They still get their national TV. They still get the Sunday night game all the time or the Thursday night. They still get Thanksgiving Day. So it is what it is. Like you said, they haven't been relevant since the 90s. What do they have? I think one playoff win since then, right? I think
so.
If I'm not mistaken.
It's been atrocious. And let's talk about that Thanksgiving slate. This is getting ridiculous. I'm tired of watching teams that are completely irrelevant. The Bears, Detroit.
The Lions.
Why do they have to keep playing on Thanksgiving when it's a national holiday for you guys? It should be primetime games. Give me something exciting, right? I hate Tom Brady. Everyone does. But you know what? It's exciting to watch the Bucs. They score a lot of points.
Yeah.
Whoever they play, it's exciting.
Oh, it'd be great.
I don't want to watch the Lions. I don't care. The Lions are atrocious.
Yeah. You know what? The story behind Thursday night, Thanksgiving is years ago, whenever it started, the NFL decided to say, all right, let's put a Thanksgiving Day game on TV to kind of help, the league out. And they asked every team. Nobody wanted to do it. Detroit came forward and says, oh, we'll do it. So now they get it every year for that. And then when they added another team, they asked around, and the team that said they would do it is Dallas. So Dallas and Detroit get the first choice if they want it or not. So obviously they're going to take it because they're on, they're the only game in town. So Detroit's going to take it. Unfortunately, every shot they get, it's their only time they're probably going to get national exposure, right? Dallas gets it, all the time, no matter what. So, but that's the reason why they're on. Unfortunately, it sucks.
That's
Interesting.
pretty interesting. Yeah, that's pretty interesting in my opinion.
Yeah,
But I agree. I agree for our friend here. I mean, no, I mean, we're thinking that we're the only ones, even right here, that just don't understand why the Cowboys are always on television. But I guess everybody, even people that don't live here in America.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, all right, the next thing, this one came about this
Ooh.
week.
Wow.
Zach Wilson is willing to
Ooh.
pay his mom to get off Instagram because of a lot of people are saying not nice things to his mom. His mom is very big on Instagram. Krista might be the best person to talk to about this. So,
Oh.
Krista, you could probably discuss this a little more.
And why is that?
I don't know.
No,
I
we
have a
have.
very-
I don't have the slightest idea, right, Krista?
I have a very controversial take on this. I honestly feel this is just my opinion. Please don't go run into anything. I have no sources. I personally think the Jets told Zach Wilson to say, "Hey, can you do something to get your mom to tone it down a little bit?" I think Zach Wilson's like, "Yeah, sure," And I think in the back of his head, it's like, how parents could be and how that son mom could be, and he's like, okay, I need her to just tone it down a little bit. So I think he was like, okay, mom, can you tone it down? You're kind of embarrassing me a little bit, and I'm sure Zach Wilson is used to his mom at this point. I mean, she had a pretty big following before the draft, so this isn't anything new. I think the reason why it's coming out now is because she's in New York and she's, the family's all Mormon. So whenever she tells us and at her morning inspiration, not to be a dick today, New Yorkers are like, oh, whoa, you're Mormon. You can't be doing this or saying this kind of stuff. Honestly, for me, I kind of like her inspirational post to tell me not to be a dick today. I find it funny. I find it motivating to not be a dick today. I kind of like them, but people they run away with it because there's nothing to talk about during the off season. Yeah, people retweeting, reposting whatever's going on because there's nothing to talk about. And she's also a really good-looking mom. I know. I'm just saying that because she does. I
hadn't recognized it all.
Attention. She's getting that unwarranted attention, so. Unfortunately, when you're in the New York spotlight, it's different from Utah. And unfortunately, like we all talk about, like this is the kind of stuff that's going to get her more noticed. And I think that's just her personality, honestly.
By the way, Krista, I'm a New York driver, and I took offense to the whole "don't be addicted." I can't. I'm naturally, as a New York driver, I'm a dick. I'm sorry. It's just how it is.
What? So am I. I'm real. And when I'm real, people
there you go.
Dick. But you know what? I'm a very real person. I tell it how it is. And sometimes it comes off of me being a dick, but you know what? Can't hide it.
That's how it should be. Society's too sensitive, guys. We're way too sensitive in this society now. It's just a complete joke.
Right.
I used to work in the correctional system, and like people would just fold like a cheap lawn chair if they had to work in there. Like they have no idea.
It's so
cheap lawn chair. I like it.
But my thing is, I think Zach Wilson's mom wants to get her own reality show. I think that's what she's like pushing for. I think she wants to be on E! Or whatever channel wants to take her. But I think that's what she's aiming for. She's out there. She's pushing herself out there. So you know what? For that sense, good for her. I really don't care. But as long as it doesn't interfere with him or the team,
exactly.
She can do whatever the hell she wants. It's a free world. It's America, whatever. So, God bless her. You know what?
I agree, Chris. Yeah, I. You know what? To tell you the truth, in reality, I seen the lady around and seen the things that she wrote. I don't think it's that interesting. I really didn't pull my attention that much. I think people are just making too much of this stuff. I don't concentrate on what people. I don't think it's that controversial that she has a following and everybody does this stuff. I don't understand what's so, crazy about her wanting attention. I thought that was what the deal was nowadays. Everybody wants attention. I don't know. What's the big deal? Leave her alone. It's simple
Exactly.
as that.
Exactly.
And
I agree.
ignore what she says. Because I don't think in who is she and what does her opinion of anything matter? What does that matter in reality?
It
No.
shouldn't matter anything.
Her son plays football for the New York Jets. If he wins
Yep.
the Jets, if he wins the wait, before I say any other words, if he wins a one playoff game for the Jets, I will be happy.
Right.
Mhm.
Just stay out of the football end of it. That's all. You could do your thing, be your whatever you're doing, but just stay out of the football. Stay out of our business. That's all. That's all we're saying. So anyway, speaking of business, all right. So Phil is going to give us a little class here, a little beginner's class on gambling. Like here, use Krista because Krista's probably never gambled, right?
Mm-mm.
Okay, and she has the capability of doing it because she lives in a state that allows it.
Actually,
So,
yep.
right. So definitely talk to her on this one to kind of help her get started.
Yeah, so I guess I'll start. You know what? We'll start with some rec books here and where you might want to place some action, right? Because you're looking to find a book that's reliable. It's gonna pay. It's not gonna juice your odds to the point where you can't bet anymore because you're paying -130 to win $100, right? Because that's what will happen. You'll notice that if you do any online books, there's certain rec books. Like I'll give you an example here. William Hill, absolutely atrocious. No one should ever bet into there, even giving them a cent. The problem is you start betting into there, and as soon as they start noticing, all their algorithms just tell them, right? It says this better, here's a betting profile. They're now hitting at 55%. All of a sudden, you'll go to make a wager one day, and it'll cut it down. So instead of betting $100, it might accept $50 from you.
Wow.
And then the next day you go, if you start losing, and then you go to bet $100 next weekend for Sunday Night Football, all of a sudden you got $100 now you can bet. And then it just keeps deteriorating to the point where you get down to $10 they allow you to wager, $20 maybe. So some of these books you just got to stay away from. William Hill, Bet Online's okay. Bet 365 is so-so. They'll do the same thing. I put a wager in there, for example, for the draft, and it had to go through 4 days of being approved through an actual, what do they call them? Basically, they call them the people behind the scenes, right, that are booking the action and the traders, and they review your action. It took 4 days to get it approved.
Oh my gosh.
So a lot of these books, like
Wow.
here in Canada, we have Bodog. I'm not sure if you guys have access to that one. That's another garbage one. I didn't even last a month, and I was only up $2,000. Like I'm not a huge bettor by any means, but like making $2,000, and then now I'm limited from betting dimes and nickels to down to $100. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Some of the sharper ones where if you bet into, they'll never close your account. They're taking clients that have a substantial bankroll. But like Bet Chris is a good one. That's actually a good one to follow for the Lions. You'll see them as soon as they're posted on Sunday night, they get hit immediately. There's people taking sides, they're shaping the market, and then by the time Monday morning rolls around, you might have lost a half point, for example. Just some general terms, I guess everyone knows the vig, the juice, they're all the same. Basically, vig and juice is just what do you need? What does the book take as their percentage cut? So if I want to wager $100 on, let's say, the Jets to cover the 4.5 on opening day, I'm gonna have to wager $110 to win 100, and the book's take is the $10, right, per bet. That's how they make their money, and then if you lose, they're getting 110.
Right.
What else we got here? Chalk, there's another one. So the chalk is basically the favorite, and that's just basically where the public goes. Because you'll notice one of the good books is Covers. If you go to covers.com, they're actually a good column where they explain things really well for beginner bettors. They have forums where you can go into and be part of a chat room. There's articles they write. It's pretty good if you're a beginner. It'll tell you exactly what chalk is, wise guys, sharp guys. So, like wise guys, sharp guys, they're basically the people that make a living doing this. And they're the ones that actually move the line. Like we might see the Jets at 4.5, and then by the time Sunday rolls around, the Jets might be a 3-point underdog. And then, as we go along here, I can get into more depth about what the points mean, difference between 3 and 4 and 7, all the key numbers. But I'll just try and keep it basic for everyone so they kind of follow along and they don't get lost too much.
Right.
Basically, if you're betting at 100 minus 110 with a big, you got to hit at 52.4% just to break even. And you won't make a profit, but you'll break even. So it's contrary to what people think, like I just need to win half my bets and I should get my money back. You won't, because unless you're betting underdogs where it's like plus 110 or plus 120, you got to hit at 52.4%. So that's why the value of shopping around, looking for different books. Like you shouldn't have all your money in one sports book. Like I think you guys have access to like DraftKings, right? You guys can do DraftKings. That's another rec book. They'll eliminate a sharp like probably within a week. They'll be limited. They won't even be able to play in it because they're winning players, right? They don't want to welcome winning players. They'll never say that, but that's exactly what they do. So like DraftKings is an example. You might be good in there for a while. Props are hard. If you get into the prop market, very tough, because once you start winning in the prop market, the margins are getting closer. It's harder to make money in props, but it's an inefficient market still. It's getting tighter. It's getting more efficient. But when those lines get posted, some of the players are off by 10, 15 yards sometimes. And that's a big difference when you're making a bet, right? What else do we got here? So a couple of terms like buying points. So let's say the Jets are favored by, or their dogs by 2.5 points. They're underdogs. But in football, 3 is a very key number. It's very important. I could talk about another show, but just for talk's sake, 3 is a key number. So if your team's an underdog by 2.5, sometimes it's worth it to buy the extra point. So some sports books will allow you to click. You just go down. You can buy a half point. You can buy a point. You buy half point sometimes instead of minus 110, it might be minus 120.
Ooh,
so you got it.
So
if you're buying points, you got to really hit those. I wouldn't recommend it too often. I already went over the sharp rec and sharp books. Bookies are probably one of the best ways to go because they're not efficient, right? For the most part, like you call up your bookie on Monday and be like, when are you posting the lines? If they post the lines on Wednesday and they don't update them till Sunday morning, that's a great bookie to go to because they're not monitoring the sharp market. They're not monitoring where the line's moving. So you can hit lines that move to point and a half, and you're getting the better of the number. And that's into my other point about the closing line. You always want to beat the closing line. So let's say you nail the Jets at 4.5, but then it closes at 4, 3.5, or 3, and the Jets lose by 4. Well, you got in at 4.5, so you won your bet while the majority of people were just chasing. And they were just, all of a sudden, they just saw a whole bunch of sharp action come in, wise guys' money come in, and they say to themselves, yeah, I'm just going to follow it, right? It has to be right. And a lot of times when you do that, it's a fake, right? The wise guys are trying to bring it down to 3, and then they're going to arbitrage and go back on the other side to get it on the upswing at 3. And then they might be back on Carolina at 3, but they got the Jets at 4.5. So if the Jets lose by 4, guess who wins both wagers? So there's a lot of that stuff. It's hard. I still have a hard time picking out head fakes out there and what's an actual. Is it just sharp guys, like extremely sharp individuals just setting up the lines the way they need them, and then they're hitting them the other way? So you got to watch out for that. But for the most part, you got to beat the closing line. If you notice you're placing bets and the line moves the opposite way, let's say you pick them at 3 and then that team is only favored by 1, well, you missed the best part of the line, right? Because you're going through key numbers there.
Right.
So it's important to monitor that and check when you place your wager. If you're looking for more informed bets, just check when the game starts or when it's over. Just take a look back at the line and see what it closed at. And if you beat that closing line, even though you may have even lost the wager, you were on the right side because it tells you that's where all the professional money was, right? If the line came back down or the other way. That's right.
What are your thoughts on playing teasers?
Teasers, I'm kind of in the middle on that, right? Like the only time I hit a teaser is on Sunday nights when I'm looking at the lines, and if I see some inefficient lines out there, like the Jets at 4.5, yeah, I'll tease the 6 there all day because I'm going through 6, I'm going through 7, which is another key number. 8 actually becomes somewhat of a key number because of the extra point, right? So when certain teams play, like Pittsburgh is super aggressive. They go for 2 a lot. So
Yes.
so now minus 8 used to be it was no one cared about it because they were just kicking extra points, right? But now that there's the 2 points are involved,
Right.
8 becomes important, and then you blow through 9 is irrelevant, and then once you hit 10, it's another secondary key number. So if I get Jets at 4.5 and I hit that teaser and it takes me to 10.5, you're getting tremendous amount of value there, right?
Right.
And then I'll pair it up. I'll look for something else. I might even hit a total. So what I'll do is I'll check the weather, and 20 miles an hour is very important in football because that's where the totals will be affected. As soon as you see 20 miles an hour for the weekend, you're going to see the total is going to move. It's going to go up. It's going to go up, or it's going to come down, sorry. And then if all of a sudden the wind disappears by kickoff, it's going to get hit the other way.
Go back up. Yeah.
So if I see that there's basically terrible weather, rain, and whatever else, and wind is mixed in there, I'll hit that total on the under, and I'll take, if it's at 47, I'll take the 6 points and give me 55 in the under, right?
Right.
And I'll touch on the totals at another time too, how there's key numbers and totals, and you want to make sure you're within those. And if you miss a bet, it's okay, because the books take all the action. You don't have to bet every game. You just pick the ones that you like and you watch them.
That's
And then
the
when
good
you
thing.
get the number that you think is good for you, is good value, then you hit it. The books, unfortunately, have to take action from everywhere. So the traders are pretty busy right on game day. They're trying to balance the books to make sure there's liability on both sides.
And it's pretty interesting listening to this stuff, because just what you just the small amount of stuff you just said just kind of pointed out the reasoning behind the slow moves towards more and more gambling being made available throughout football. Because I mean, you just can't miss. I mean, there's so much money to be made here that it's almost impossible to walk away
I'm
from
lost.
it's almost impossible for any organization to walk away and say, well, we don't want anything to do with this. I mean, come on,
absolutely.
man.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
like my last talking point was talking about bankroll management. That's extremely important when you're starting and betting without emotion. Like I don't bet on the Jets because I'm a Jet fan and they have to cover that spread. I bet on it because I'm looking for key matchups. I'm looking at the defensive line versus the offensive line. To me, that's the biggest advantage in that game. And there's no way the Jets, that line should have blew through the key at 3 and 4. I don't know why it's at 4.5 right now. It may just be the Sharps too pushing it up, and then they're just going to hammer it the other way, right?
It's going to come down to around 3.
Yeah,
That's what you mean.
Carolina has no business being that big of a favorite, and I could actually make the argument that it should be a pick 'em to 0. Like it's neither team should be favorite, right? Like I'm not that bullish on. I'm bullish on the Jets. I'm just saying like that this particular matchup doesn't warrant a 4.5 point swing.
Well, the home team, don't they automatically get 3 points, right? Or is that out now? I remember
it depends on the home crowd advantage, right? And I'll get into that as well. You don't want to get into too much data mining where you're just so focused in analytics and the stats that you just lose yourself. You get so much into it, and then all of a sudden the line that you were just looking at, it's gone. Or you've done so much homework and it's too much, and you've information overloaded yourself, and then you've painted yourself into a corner where it's like, well, I've talked myself into this now. All the analytics say this has to happen, right? There's got to be a fine balance. You got to balance the analytics, and you got to balance what your eyes tell you on the tape. Like when I go back and watch a team that played the week before, I'm watching for trending metrics, right? I'm watching for the progression. Is the team going in the right direction? I don't care what they did week 1 when it's week 7. I want to know what they did the previous 4 weeks and where they're projected to go.
right.
So, and that includes the Jets, right? When you're betting, like you got to take emotion out of it. And a lot of people have a hard time doing that, including myself when I started, because I just didn't want to believe that, the Jets are like last year. There were so many games, they were 14-point underdogs. And a couple of my buddies were like, well, you got to hit the Jets. Like, that's 2 touchdowns. I'm like, yeah, but like they're terrible. There's a reason why it's sitting at 14. Like
they're not going to cover, trust me.
Exactly. A lot of times they never even covered. So it's tough. It's a fine balancing act, to say the least.
I'll be honest. Whenever I gambled, I would never bet on my team because there was too much.
Yeah.
Like you said, your heart is in it too much, and I could never do it. And if I thought the other way, like you said, oh, they're not covering the 14, I still wouldn't bet on them to cover the, to get blown out. Either way,
It's hard because your judgment is clouded, right?
It does.
Like mine is too. So like whenever I'm looking at the Jets game, when I hit that 4, I did some extra homework there just to make sure, because I didn't want my bias to kick in and say, well, that's just ridiculous. Who needs 4 points, right? Like,
right.
So.
Yeah.
Right. That was a great point you made about the Carolina line, because last time I checked, Carolina's defense was not that good last year. I mean, and what have they done to upgrade that defense? I mean, I love that one safety they have. Love the kid. I forget his name.
Jeremy Chin.
Oh man, one of my favorite players coming out. His rookie year. Definitely love them. And that one pass rusher they have that they drafted. I think people were arguing that we should have taken him over Quinn and something like that. Yeah.
Didn't they draft Gross Matos? Or was that another team I'm thinking of? I thought they took. I think
they did. I think they did. Yeah. I liked him, but I think it's gonna take a little while before he becomes that scary dude. I don't think.
Well, they're full of rookies over there too. Like they're only going into the second season, and like Carolina is not some team that deserves to be holding those amount of points. Favorites over the Jets. So we'll see how it goes. It'd be nice to break this matchup down once we get closer and really dig into the X's and O's, because I think you'll see some pretty big mismatches there.
And let's remind ourselves, who is their quarterback now? So that should.
Oh God.
And that's the thing, right? Like, he's mistake prone. He has been.
Right.
Like, say what you will about the coaching and everything, but he does throw those passes where you just shake your head like, what's he doing? And if you're a team that's favored by 4 points or more, and your quarterback throws that pivotal one in his own end, and then the other team gets a garbage touchdown, that could easily cover the 4 points. No problem.
Let's talk. Well, since we kind of dabbled in the X and O's a little bit, talk about that coaching staff and the kind of offense that they ran, where there is a little bit more. They really concentrate on throwing the ball, and whoever the quarterback is in that offense, you have to be ultra accurate, right? I mean, that's the kind of offense they ran. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's
Brady. He spread it out at LSU, right? That's what he did.
Right, LSU, right, and isn't that offense a kind of a derivative of what the Saints used to do? Kind of. That's what it is, right?
There is an extension of what the Saints are doing there, for sure, and like they're going to spread the Jets out, right? That's one of my concerns before I placed the bet was we're a little thin on corner. We don't know exactly what we have back there. Like, I like Bryce Hall and some of the other guys that are there, but in the end of the day, if they're spreading you out all day, and then you've got McCaffrey out of the backfield, like, someone's got to pick him up, and CJ Mosley can't cover everybody, and that's the problem, right? So
yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see. But I am concerned about them just spreading it out and just chucking it everywhere and making the Jets cover, right?
Well, that's also
that pass rush.
But that's also the issue, though. You're asking a quarterback that has never really been consistently accurate to do that. Consistently throw the ball over and over accurately. He's never been good at that. I thought a play action kind of offense would fit him more than an offense where he's asked to throw the ball accurately over and over, even if it's a spread offense. I would have an issue with him throwing the ball 5-6 times in a row, where he would probably make 2 throws where you would be like, oh my God. But the 2 throws after that would be, so that's the thing. Unless he just all of a sudden, woke up and he was a different guy. I don't know.
And I don't know. Like, you can't count Joe Brady out either, right? Like, that guy, what he did at LSU with Burrow. So it's going to be an adjustment period for sure. To be honest with you, I don't know who's going to cover Elijah Moore in the slot. The more I watch that guy, the more impressed I am. I'm not sure on Carolina who they have to cover that guy. So just maybe Slant City all day, and I'm fine with that. You want to nickel and dime them all the way to the end zone? I don't care.
Hey, that's West Coast for you. That's the West Coast offense, but I think the Jets are going to run the ball more, and that's going to be an issue for Carolina, because I don't think Carolina I think they would be better at stopping you if you're going to line up and throw the ball, because I think their pass rush is better than if you would line up and want to run the ball against them. And that's, to me, on that side, the Jets have a stronger, that's their strength, in my opinion. You're talking about our left and our right tackle, and you're talking about what Elijah Moore could do, and in my opinion, all of a sudden you give McGovern a scheme that works exactly how he worked when he was in Broncos, and he was one of the better centers in the league. So,
like,
And you know what?
I'm going to tell you guys, I am ecstatic to watch Elijah Vera Tucker and Mekhi
Yes.
Becton running
Yeah.
out as
Mm.
Michael Carter. I don't even care who carries the ball. You know, all of us could carry the ball and we'd have success. Like, those holes are going to be massive at times. Massive.
yes, sir.
It's going to be exciting.
Yes, it
Yeah,
will
could
be.
definitely be good. Carolina, and you know what? Just getting back to them for a second, the only thing they really did in the draft was they drafted J.C. Horn, the corner. After
Yeah.
that,
Oh, yeah.
their next like 3
Yeah.
picks. So,
Yep.
Yeah, he may be able to take care of Corey
They feel
Davis,
differently.
maybe, but as a rookie, you're asking a rookie to do a lot when you're talking about a guy that's established. So let's
Oh,
say
yeah.
he just takes out Corey Davis, for example. Well, you know, who's going to step up and take care of Mims, Moore in the slot, Crowder on the up? Like, there's a lot of, and I'm excited to see how LaFleur actually manages this offense and, you know, throws in some wrinkles that we haven't seen in 2 years that we don't think exist because Adam Gase was doing his thing. I know you
Yeah.
love that name, Chris. That's why I threw it in there.
Love it. Him and Frank Gore, my favorite.
Up the middle,
Oh, yeah.
50 yards. So, all right, next segment is going to be our favorite one. Charmin,
Yay.
Yes, sir.
some chalk talk. What do you got?
Yeah, a little bit of what we were just talking about. Just to give you guys a preview of my newest article coming out. It's about the Jets passing game and passing game coordinator Greg Knapp, who was actually a pretty good quarterback in college and had the pleasure of working directly under Steve Mariucci, who everyone knows literally learned from the god of the West Coast offense, Bill Walsh. So we're getting a direct descendant of what the West Coast offense was back in the day. But let's be real, there is principles in the West Coast offense back then that still stand today, but it's not really the same. There's been a lot of changes that has come to it. But it's still that same 3-step drop, 5-step drop thing going. That's gonna be in there. I think Greg Knapp has evolved a lot over the years. I mean, going through his record, I totally forgot the fact that he was Michael Vick's offensive coordinator, and he was also Jamarcus Russell's offensive coordinator, which was like, sheesh. I mean, the fact that you did Michael Vick, which was probably one of the more dangerous players we'd ever seen play football, and one of the more laziest football players we had ever seen play football in Jamarcus Russell was kind of incredible. But just going through his history of trying, you just could see him almost like being a step ahead, but it never really worked out. His evolution or trying to evolve what he thought was the West Coast offense, trying it over and over again, trying it with in the Raiders with the Raiders twice, trying it with Seattle where it failed, and it just constantly. But his marriage with that West Coast and that Shanahan wide zone scheme, I think that's where it kind of started blossoming a little bit, and we're seeing, I think, the new evolution of offense. This is what offense is: a lot of movement, a lot of jet motion. We're as Jet fans, we'll see real 2021 NFL offense instead of whatever the hell we had in the past. so,
Crap.
so, so,
Just crap.
so,
Crap.
so we're seeing again, we'll see Michael LaFleur, with the new way of thinking of offenses and the new way of attacking defenses, and the principles or the basic principles of the West Coast, which would work perfectly for a kid like Zach Wilson, who, again, I think we've mentioned it so many times. He's just the personification of quick. He's and for you to run the West Coast offense, you have to be quick. Between the scheme and him, it's like a perfect marriage. And also a lot of our coaches and what they stand for and what they're trying to do, in my opinion, is a perfect marriage. So I can't wait to see what this new evolution of the West Coast offense is going to look like when you take an old school guy like Greg Knapp, and then you take Mike LaFleur, which is a brand new kind of scheme offense, and you put them together, and let's see what they give birth to. But I think it's going to be something very interesting.
That's good. So be on the lookout. PlayLikeAJet.com, and you can check out Sharman's article there. Coming soon. It's always a great read, so definitely check him out. All right, next up, I got my trivia. This, I'm going to say right now, it's more of a fact thing, so it's not going to be that hard. I shouldn't say it's not going to be that hard. It's just a fact thing. It's going to be more of a guessing, but I did my background on this, so we're going to talk about jersey numbers, right, for the Jets. Since Krista's wearing her new Elijah Moore jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Number 8, baby.
Let's talk about jerseys today. So, okay.
Pop that collar, man.
That's it. What number do you think was the least used by the Jets?
Seven.
Not double zero or zero. So
7.
No. It's
One.
obvious. It's obvious. No. Think of an obvious number that you think would not have been used that much. It's not the obvious one. It's the second most obvious one.
2.
That's my
You killing me.
Yeah.
think.
1.
No. What number's
yeah.
been retired forever for the Jets?
12.
Okay, that's not it.
Oh.
But think of that was my guess. I thought it was that.
Oh,
But
man.
I think 3 other guys used it before Joe Namath. Joe Namath used it.
11.
The number that was least used was only used by this guy first, and then not used until later on.
Was it 11?
Close. No, not 11, but that was close.
9?
No.
10?
Wow, I can't think of it. Yeah, Chris is. I mean,
Okay.
we don't have a choice.
All right. What's
Yeah.
another number that's retired for a long time? A long time Jet. Wide receiver?
Wesley Walker?
No, that Joe Namath played with?
Oh, Druid With? Oh, wow.
No.
John Maynard?
Yes, Krista. Very good.
Well, yeah, it was Maynard's number.
Okay, number 13 is the least used by the Jets.
Number
Wow.
And check this out. He was the first person to use it, and the next person, I don't know why they let this other guy use it from 1985 to 1986. He was a punter. I don't know if you guys remember him, Dave Jennings. He
No.
used to punt for the
For my
Giants.
time.
He was a long time punter for the Giants. He punted there for 15 years or whatever it was. But then he came to the Jets for a couple of years. Why they let him use number 13? I should have did a little bit more research on that. But anyway, so Maynard and Jennings are the only guys that used the number 13 for the Jets.
Interesting.
Wow.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah, that is
Very.
pretty cool.
And a couple other numbers that we used very little, only 4 times. The number 90, and we know number 90 is retired by. Who was the last person to wear number 90?
One of our defensive players, defensive tackle.
Very good, right? He's not.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Good guess.
Yeah.
Come on.
I am brilliant.
Inspirational. An inspirational.
Wasn't it Pua, whatever his name is there? The big.
No.
I think he
It
was
wasn't him.
91.
Yeah,
Think of somebody who was
He was
inspirational.
an inspirational?
Why'd they retire this guy's number?
Man, you see,
He died 2 years ago, actually.
that's why we miss Danda.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
we missed
I
him.
think he'd get this. This isn't that
He
bad.
Yeah,
would
he would
get it.
definitely get it. Yeah.
I thought it was
comes-
Gas. Wasn't Gastineau that number?
Oh, it was Bird?
You remember Dennis Bird, right?
Yes.
Remember
Oh
he got-
yeah, he passed away. Yeah. Oh man.
So that number was only used 4
Wow.
times in the whole franchise history of the Jets.
That's
And another
crazy.
number not used that much was only used 5 times, and the number is number 59. And the last person to use it used it from 1984 to 1996. He was a linebacker.
1984 to 96.
Yeah, pretty good one too.
96. 12 years.
96. Linebacker.
Number 59. It's only been used 5 times, and he was the last person.
That number really rings a bell, but for some reason I can't remember the name.
I think it's amazing that nobody's used it since then too. I mean, it's not retired or anything, and I don't think it's because of that. It's because he was just a pretty good ball player, but he wasn't,
I think
his name was Kyle Clifton.
Oh.
Oh. Wow,
I should have
that's a
gotten
blast
that.
from the past.
Yeah, I should have gotten that. I just couldn't say the name for some reason. It just couldn't come out.
Oh.
I should have gotten that
so we
one.
went to
That was
that
probably
and-
one of the ones I should have gotten. You got me,
All right,
man.
so let's
You
go
got
to
me.
the other extreme. What do you think is the most popular number or the most used number by the Jets?
5.
No.
Oh wow. Okay.
7.
No. Think of a running back.
Curtis Martin's number.
I was just
Think
thinking that
no.
myself.
Think of somebody
I
who
was too.
disappointed us recently.
Le'Veon Bell's number.
There you go. Number 26 has been
Yeah.
30 different times for the Jets in their.
Yeesh. What's their love with number 26? Let's stop using that then.
Well,
Stop giving it to
Kevin
running back.
Campbell. Kevin Campbell's using it, so I don't know if that's a good omen or not. But
Uh-oh.
that's so. There you go.
I mean.
No, I know. I still can't believe the number 13 was only used twice. I still can't believe that. But
yeah.
That's odd. Yeah.
Because my first guess before I did, I'm like, it's got to be Namath, right? Because Namath
That's what I,
was
yeah.
because nobody used it after him, and I figured, that was so long ago, but a few guys used it before he got there. So, our next, we usually do Panda's Bamboo Shack, and since he's not here, I don't think it's right that we do it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Nobody lives in a bamboo shack.
yeah,
Only Panda
so-
does.
yeah, he can only talk on that. So
Yes.
we're gonna have to. We'll go right into Krista's 2-minute warning.
Let's do it.
Yay.
So, hold on a second. Let me get my timer here, so we know
Okay.
we have to
Oh,
time.
yeah.
Otherwise, you'll do it all night.
If you're wearing a toupee, tie it down. If you're wearing a wig, hold it down.
So,
Okay.
and we already got a preview of this, so we know where it's going to go.
Man.
So,
Oh,
anyway.
man.
Go ahead, Krista, whenever you're ready.
All right, I am ready to talk about dumbass articles during the off season. Are you ready?
Yeah, go.
Okay, my dumbass articles. First off, probably fucking Fried needs to stop writing dumb articles about Mark Sanchez, because if you're writing about Mark Sanchez, you're obviously not watching football, because I would argue he's one of our better picks. Now the Bleacher Report wanting to write about Carl Lawson being the riskiest pick for the Jets, like they haven't seen us struggle with pass rushers. I don't know what Bleacher Report's writing either, or that other site, Pro Football Network, wherever the fuck they want to call themselves, bashing on Corey Davis, saying that he's the most overrated signing. Like, have you seen Corey Davis trending up and they're using Derrick Henry running? I don't know what these guys are doing. It's like they're all in the pool saying, oh, let's see who can compete to make the most outlandish takes. And these takes are so terrible when I read them. I don't even feel like reading halfway through the articles because it's just so stupid, so dumb. Especially, like, I expect it from probably fucking Pride because they do with their fancy analytics and they hide behind a computer. But Pro Football Network with their stupid take with Carl Lawson, like, I don't know what, like you haven't seen the Jets struggle with pass rush. The only risky pick with Carl Lawson is that other teams have to hide their opposing quarterback because we finally have a pass rusher. And as far as the Corey Davis take, please go watch film and go watch the Titans offense. Like, you haven't seen Corey Davis improving, and he's young, and haven't seen Derrick Henry run down the middle. I'm tired of terrible takes. If you're going to go write an article, please educate yourself on Jet knowledge, or I'm going to call you out on Twitter, and I will personally at your writers and ask them to please do your research because I'm tired of your dumbass takes.
All right.
Damn. Hey.
Nice.
I actually beat the timer.
Good job.
Yeah,
beat
you
the
did.
clock.
That was good.
And I will add a little bit to your run with the bullshit about Corey Davis and an oversight. Wait, he just happened to ran an offense where they love using flood concepts and they love using over routes and he was very good at it. And he just happened to come to an offense where they love flooding zones and they love running over concept. I mean, there shouldn't be a correlation, right? I don't get it. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's just a ridiculous take. If you know anything about football, you would know that he just fits what the Jets are going to do. That's why.
Yeah, no, it's. I also read one that Carl Lawson was the biggest gamble.
Riskiest signing.
Right, riskiest signing. How is that a risky signing?
I think what they're doing. I think what they're doing when they put that out there is it's all analytical based, right? Like they're not
exactly.
They're not comparing the analytics with the film with the eye test, is what you should be doing, right? Like
Right.
just because a computer tells you that maybe his pressure rate isn't as good as some other high elite pass rushers in the league doesn't mean he's not going to get to the quarterback, right? Like they need to have that fine balance, and there's just too much analytics. You can have too much analytics, not enough analytics, and they need to find that fine balance, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Pressure rate. Right. That's how you measure a football player. You out of your damn mind. If pressure rate is the reason why just watch the guy. I mean, on any given Sunday, he will harass the hell out of your left tackle. I mean, frustrate the hell out of him. There's film out there of Chris, who's the Eagles left tackle? What's his name?
Oh, Fletcher Cox?
Left tackle.
Oh, I think you meant tackle, defensive tackle. Left tackle, what's his name?
It was Peters last year, wasn't it? Or did he move to right last
No,
year?
before Peters. Peters, it was somebody else because Peters was on the house, didn't it?
Yeah, he got
Was it Dylan?
Dillard,
was it
right?
Dillard or something like that. Yeah.
Dillard, their first round pick from Utah or something.
Yeah, whoever it was. Go watch the film. That poor kid
he probably
did not want to be there. He did not want to be there.
Yeah.
He didn't want to play. He didn't want to play against him. And it didn't matter if he kept just harassing the left guard. It didn't matter who was in front of him. He just kept harassing people all game long. And your statistics won't tell you that.
Credit, right? Like the man played on shitty football teams. Not to mention he was coached with Zach Taylor. Like the man's going to be gone in 2 to 3 years max. If he survives 2 years, I'll be shocked if he lasts 2 years there. He sucks. I mean, you're under Sean McVay, and because you had a little bit of success under him, he must be good. He comes off the Sean McVay tree, and I'm sick and tired of hearing these trees. It's completely ridiculous. Like just because you were under someone who's great doesn't make you great. He got that job, and I just shook my head. I'm like, this guy's gonna sink this ship.
I think in the article it also said that he led, or he was like second or third in the league in quarterback hits with like 20.
Yes, he was.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you play
How is that
exceptionally
a
well on a bad team. That
Yeah.
tells you something.
Right.
The guy has a mortar, right? And he's hungry.
Mhm.
He's going to be
And think
great
about
here.
and think about the line he's going to be working with now.
The line and the scheme.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of
Oh.
he does not. All of a sudden, his defensive tackles, the guys playing next to him, are not going to be playing two gapping. They won't be two gapping. They wouldn't have to be protecting themselves. They're just playing attack football. What do you do if you're outside? Let's say for sake of argument, he's playing wide 9, and the nearest defensive tackle to him, instead of trying to play both gaps, that's just going upfield. All of a sudden, everybody has to commit to the nearest threat, which is what you do in playing offensive line. And what would that do? Create a freaking huge hole for probably one of the fastest edge rushers in the NFL.
Yep.
Right.
Really? Really?
You know what's going to be exciting is to see unlocked in this defense because he actually has a coach now. Is Quinnen Williams to see what he does this year?
Oh my
Like this guy
God.
could take it.
Animal.
This guy could take it to a whole other level. Whole other level.
The only thing that's going to stop Lawson and basically the whole defensive line is going to be any kind of injury. Outside of an injury, if everybody stays healthy, this is going to be one of the best defensive lines in football.
And I think they're
Guys,
so
and-
deep, they might even be able to overcome an injury or two. Like that's
Yeah,
how
And
deep
this
they
is what
are.
I'm saying. You're talking about somebody, another guy people are not talking about is Sheldon Rankins. Yes,
Right.
Sheldon Rankins has been injured, and probably that's the reason why nobody wants to talk about what he does on the field. But I'm sorry, if you watch this guy play, that guy is very scary, especially when you pair him with the interior players that the Jets have. I mean, what are you doing? What are you gonna do? John Franklin Myers is ridiculously quick in short areas. Then you take Sheldon Rankins that has not only the power but the quickness of a JFM, and then you take Quinnen Williams, who is again somebody ranked him. They did not rank him in the top 10 in defensive players. Whatever the hell, most
on.
ridiculous thing. Oh yeah, no, I mean, I've seen some of the best centers and combination guards and centers in the NFL try to block Quinnen Williams, and he made them look like idiots. And he's
He
not
only
even
draws double teams a little. He only draws double teams almost every other play. No big deal.
right.
Like, no one talks about
He-
Vinny Curry too. Like that guy is a situation.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
He's gonna
my
have an
God.
effect on it. He's absolutely
Oh.
gonna have an effect on games.
And especially if he
Guys.
doesn't have to play every down, you're going to keep
That's right.
you're going to keep
Yeah.
a good rotation going. It's
Keep
Guys,
the boys
this-
fresh
this
in
is
there. They'll be
fun.
good.
And this is
Yeah.
why, and to me, that's why the argument is not the line. And I don't care what anybody says, the line is going to be what it's going to be. The argument is going to be the second level. Because if we know what our middle linebacker is going to do. We know I know he hasn't played football in a while. Up here, one of the best football players we've seen in a long time. Physically, we don't know what he's going to be because he hasn't played football in almost 2 years. But we know up here, he's one of the best football players we ever seen. Couple that with some young talent around him, which we don't know what they're going to be. And that's where the question mark starts for me. I know that the corners are bad. I know that. But if you could supplement good corner play with very good pass rush. My problem is what we could do on the second level, because teams could take advantage of you at your linebacker position if you can, especially the way teams like to run mesh concepts and stuff. I mean, come on, man. They could humiliate the crap out of your defense. What I'm really worried about is the linebackers and what they could do. You know,
And that's going to be the huge problem this year, right?
Yeah.
A lot of teams are going to throw a lot of 2 tight end sets, and guess what? Our fucking friends over there in Boston, they
There
got
we go.
2 great tight ends.
Yeah.
So
Yes, sir.
they're gonna tight end the Jets to death, and they're gonna force them to cover.
Yeah.
If they can't cover,
Yep.
they're just gonna live right there, and they don't care about the outside, right? So
And coverage is not just about speed, because you have to know what you're watching. Even if you have the speed to run to a spot, If you don't understand where to run, what's the point?
Right.
But you
know,
got to
you
trust
just
Salah, right? Like Robert Salah, you got to trust him to
yes,
an extent. He's going to figure
yes,
it
and
out.
and
Like,
yeah,
are
that's
they
it
going to
right there.
jam them at the line? They're going to get hands on. That might be their
Yep.
only chance with the guys they have currently. I don't know. We don't know. Like you said, right? CJ Mosley's a big question mark, and if physically he's there, yeah, he should be fine to cover one of them. But we need someone else to cover the other side, and
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to watch to
Yeah.
see how they scheme around
Definitely.
that, right? And
Yeah,
and you know,
and I think, yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off, but because I just want to make a point about what you just said about Robert Saleh, and this is, to me, that's the glue that would bind our hope of what that defense could do and what they could actually be, because I think his history with coaching great linebackers. I mean, come on, man, you just mentioned the names that he's coached into being very good players. I'm a big fan of Nasir Dean, because I thought if he didn't get injured in college, I thought when he could have came out last year and be a really high end pick, because the way this kid was trending in college was ridiculous. And if he didn't get injured, I think he would have been drafted high. So I think he's a pretty talented player. And the other kid, the kid they drafted before him, forget his name, the
Sherwood?
other Sherwood. I question that pick because of his athleticism, because he's not that athletic. But what he does not have in athleticism, he really makes up with the football IQ. He has a very high football IQ, and give Salah that kind of talent, and he might be able to make some magic. And that's why I wanted to really make a point of what you said about Salah. Really, he could really turn these guys into something, but we still don't know. We don't know.
Davis, talking about the linebacking in the second level, like Davis is intriguing.
Yes.
What's going to happen with him? Like, he's got all the athleticism. He's good. He's instinctual. We'll see what happens. But that one, I'm curious to see how he goes along. If his playing time increases, if he's becomes dependable, because if he does, it'll help out everything. Obviously, the front end will do what they need to do, and with the zone scheme that they're going to run, it's going to help the corners because they don't have to man up all the time and worry about getting beat deep on a 50-yard bomb. Because my personal opinion on the whole season, I don't think quarterback's going to have that much time. The Jets, that's what Salah likes to do. He likes to get home, put pressure on them, and then his corners hold up. Because you look in San Francisco, like, there were good corners, but there was no one where you wrote home about and said, that guy is an all-pro.
No.
Right.
And I think
he made it work with guys that were mediocre, maybe a little above average, but they weren't exceptional where you were like, yep, they can just play man on the outside, and then he can scheme around that. Kind of like what Rex did. He didn't have that.
Especially last year.
Revis or anything
last year, he had a lot of injuries to his stars. Like Bosa was out, and a couple other guys were out, and they still were a pretty good defense most of the year. So
I think what you guys are just saying, it kind of leads to my next point. Salah all of a sudden last year played more quarters coverage than almost any team in the NFL. What is the simplest? I'm not that it's simple in any way, but the simplest coverage scheme to teach a rookie? Quarters coverage. It's very simple. You don't have to zone. You're covering a smaller area as a corner, so you're not worried about behind you. You know that no matter what, there's gonna be somebody behind you, because quarters coverage, literally, it's almost like having 3 safeties behind you. So it's like, okay, to explain what quarters coverage is, two safeties is like halves, right? It's the half of the field. Each safety is honoring a half of the field. 3 safeties is thirds. Each safety honors a third of the field. Well, quarters coverage is just a subtraction of that. It goes down to quarters. So there's 4 players doing 4 sides of the field. What that does, it tightens things up. Linebackers literally have to just run east and west. They don't have to drop too far back, because the guys behind them are covering quarters of the field, so they spread out a little bit more evenly behind them, making it an easier read for play. Of course, it has its downsides, running running a lot of crosses and stuff like that, and slants and stuff like that. It's kind of but you could do stuff out of that to fix it, of course. But I think there's a reason why Salah did that a lot. He did that because I think he was trying to make up for all the injuries he had, and it worked out. Like Chris just said, you did not see them get beat a lot, and they still ended up playing really well. So
anyway, that was. Let's go to our final thoughts. If anybody has any, Krista, do you have any final thoughts for tonight? No big rant. Easy.
My final thought is please be knowledgeable when you post articles online. I'm very sick of reading these stupid nonsense articles. Please be smart. I read them, and I'm going to come after you if you say something dumb like Mark Sanchez has been the worst pick from the Jets since 2006.
That's good. See, Krista, no yelling, no cursing, just a little warning.
It's just tough.
Be smart. Really that's tough. All. Okay. Very nice, Krista.
It's really tough, and
wow.
please leave Lisa Wilson alone. I mean, I joke around with her about not being a dick today, but she's gonna do her thing as long as, like you guys said, as long as she's not affecting the football field. Just let the girl be. Let her live her life. Let her wake. She motivates me to wake up at 6 a.m. even though I don't. I fail at tweeting at Nick Foles during that time, so maybe I can take some advice from her to wake up at 6 a.m. so I can go tweet at my buddy Nick Foles and enjoy the off season and go Jets.
There you go. Phil, you got anything?
Final thoughts? Oh man, we can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
Oh, sorry, I must have hit the mute button there, guys. Sorry.
That's all right. Go ahead. Go for it.
No, I just said I enjoyed all this, guys. I like breaking this stuff down, and I'm glad I could provide you with a little bit of help with your bets, and looking forward to giving you guys some more. Yeah, no, absolutely. You have me back. I'll definitely bring up some more and maybe get into some sharper books and a little more terminology, and try not to bore too many people with the data mining.
No, this is cool, man.
We'll get into the analytics a little bit and maybe give some people a sneak peek of some of the analytics I look after, because, like I said, you don't want to data mine yourself into, 6 feet in the ground because you looked into too much stats. I'll try and help people out with some of the stuff I use for bets, and that's about it.
Pretty cool.
Norman, you got anything?
I think I'm gonna lean a little bit to the side of what Krista said, because there's way too much information out there. So for people to be saying some of the things they say, and I'm also talking to Jets fans a little bit. We need to stop paying attention to some of this stuff. There's so much positivity going on at One Jets Drive right now. Everybody trying to bait us into having an argument over some stupidity when we know that things are going so well for us right now. I mean, even if it's all on paper, I do not care, especially after the way last year went. I will take paper. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly.
So I will live in my moment and enjoy the fact that my team has some semblance of a plan going towards the season and talent.
Yes.
I love it.
For the first
we
time
have talent for a long time. There's talent at One Jets Drive. And you know what? Nobody from no network, even if it's called whatever Krista calls them, fried something, they're not gonna make me feel bad about what I feel about the Jets. Like Krista said, go Jets.
That's it. And you know what? I'll just keep the be smart thing going here. You know what? Not just the writers, but us Jet fans got to be smart too. Like don't buy into this crap. They have no idea. It's just lazy writing. They're almost like trolls on social media. So we just got to be smarter too. You know what? And whenever these guys write some stupid stuff, you know what? Just try to remember their names. Because I'm sure the team is remembering these guys. So we should remember them too. So when we start rolling and getting when we start winning some games and proving a lot of people wrong, we'll let them know. We'll let them know that they weren't so smart in what they said. So anyway, we had a great show. Phil, thanks again for joining us. Hopefully you'll be joining us.
Absolutely.
And go Jets. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Cheers.